Recently, I made a trip to Minnesota for a family matter, and while I was there, I stopped at S.R. Harris, my favorite fabric warehouse, and I bought some fabric. Smallest fabric haul ever. Just kidding. This is just from one location. I made some more purchases at the second location. Stick around and I'll share with you all the fabrics I bought as well as the plans I have for each one of them. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Sharon Sews. This is where we talk all about sewing. As I mentioned in the intro, I was in Minnesota recently. I was there on a family matter and I wasn't even going to go to S.R. Harris. I just really was not feeling like sewing. I wasn't feeling creative. And I told my husband, I don't need any fabric. I had just done a pretty major overhaul in my sewing space and donated yards and yards and yards and yards of fabric that I knew I was never ever going to sew. So I was feeling like, do I really need anything? No, I don't think I'll go. We all know how that went. It had gotten a bit cold that morning, and obviously I was feeling it because I have here fabrics that are appropriate for fall and winter sewing. Here I have an animal print. This was in the velvet section. It has a really nice hand to it, a nice weight, medium weight, and little stiff. Has some lycra to it, which always makes it more comfortable when I'm sewing and wearing something with a little bit of lycra in it. And I bought 4 yards, about 4 yards because I wanted to sew myself a coat. Can always use a fairly lighter weight coat. And I'm going to sew this old pattern, not old, from 2009. I've never sewn it. 1147 Vogue, a Sandra Betzina design. I'm going to see if this fabric works well on this technique on the collar. And if not, then I will just do the plain collar. But who can't use an animal print coat for the colder weather? Another piece of velvet, and this is a black velvet. And I bought it because this is unique. I haven't seen anything like this before. The velvet is sewn into little circles that are stitched together. There's a little bit of opening right there. The back is just plain black. And I thought I bought 2.5 yards. But I got home and actually bought 3.5 yards. So my original plan, I thought in my head, was to sew a bomber jacket. Cashmerette Kimball bomber jacket. This is a Cashmerette club pattern. But that would leave me with about 1 yard left. So I could either make maybe a vest with the remaining yardage, or I could sew this cape. I have wanted to make this ever since it was originally released as a Vogue pattern. Oh, by the way, it's New Look 6768. If I do the bomber jacket, it would have to be lined, and then I would just use a contrasting color, and then there'd be a little pop of color coming through. This one is not lined, and it could be kind of fun to have this as, I don't know, I keep thinking, and I still live in the Twin Cities, and I could go to the theater and all these fun things, and that's not my life anymore, but I still am kind of leaning towards this now. I like the idea of this unique velvet in this cape. The final piece of fabric I bought is a shirting. Plaid. I don't wear plaids too often, but I kind of liked this. As you can see, colors are a little bit darker, appropriate for fall, winter. It's got a little bit of lycra in it, cotton lycra fabric, plaid, and I'm going to sew another Cashmerette Vernon shirt. The whole reason I bought this fabric is because I'm going to do another blog post on the BERNINA We Also blog. I have a blog post out there showing how to take a button-up shirt pattern, like the Vernon shirt pattern, and 3 easy hacks to it. And this one, I changed the sleeves. And I did this really great little detail on it with my sewing machine. It's pin tucks and decorative stitches. So what I will be doing on this blouse is also doing something with the sleeves, but it's going to be using embroidery with my new embroidery unit. Moving on, these are the purchases I made at the Burnsville location in the southern part of the Twin Cities. I really wasn't even going to go there. I was happy with the 3 pieces of fabric that I bought, but one of my friends wanted to go, so I said, oh, I'll go with you. And of course, this is where I ended up buying the most amount of fabric. Let's have a look. First off is this bright pink pre-quilted fabric. Here you go. As I mentioned, it had gotten cold that week while we were there. I hadn't quite packed for the weather, and I had been shopping for a quilted zip-up vest. Those are just perfect when you've got a long sleeve shirt or sweater and you just need a little extra warmth. Could not find one. So of course I'm going to make one. I'm going to make the Murcott puffer vest. This is a Cashmerette club pattern. Also, there are instructions how to quilt it yourself, but I'm just going to use the pre-quilted fabric. This is going to be a great little layering piece for me. As I mentioned, when I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt or even a sweater, sometimes I just like that extra layer piece, and I just think this bright pink will be cheery in the darker winter months. I can't resist purchasing a piece of Liberty London cotton lawn while I'm at S.R. Harris. They actually have a pretty good price on sale because their fabrics are marked 50% off. It's $24.99 a yard. So a little bit higher price than what I typically purchase, but it's so pretty. See, isn't that beautiful? And if you could feel it, it's got a silky feel, and it's just an absolute delight to sew. I bought enough to make a shirt. Pullover shirt like this. So I'm either going to do another one of these, which is the Style Arc Zalia top, one of my absolute favorites, or the Closet Case Cielo top. This one right here, the shorter version with the great big sleeves. I do love the great big statement sleeves. A shirting fabric with just a little bit of shine for the upcoming holidays. Can you see that? It's got a little bit of a silver thread running through it. That just reminded me of a song. Don't worry, I won't sing for you. It's not something you want. Fairly lightweight. Oh, it's got lycra in it. Well, that'll make it even more comfortable to wear. Little bit, not sheer, maybe translucent. Beautiful drape. I thought for this one, Butterick $69.82. Another pullover type top. I just love those. They're just easy to wear. Pop it on, add some great jewelry, fabulous pair of jeans and shoes, and you're ready to go. One of the recommended fabrics is cotton shirting, so this will work just fine. A black shirting fabric. This is a shirting fabric, fairly lightweight, and a little bit of no, it doesn't have lycra, not this piece. But after I got it home and I pre-shrunk it, probably can't see here on the camera, but these tiny little stripes they're not quite sheer, but yeah, you can kind of see through it. I think it might be a little too sheer for what I had planned. What I had planned was to sew a dress. Where's the pattern? It's just a Chiladero dress. This is a fairly new release. Love the design on this. I especially like the shirt dress with that tiny little detail at the waist, the tie, which for me works really well. It gives me the illusion of a waist. But as I said, I got this home and pre-washed it, and when I'm holding it up to the lights here in my sewing room, I feel like it's going to be too lightweight for this dress because I do not want to wear a slip. So now I'm not sure what I'm going to do with 4 yards of shirting fabric. Another possibility is to sew this duster. It's a dress duster. Simplicity 9114. This is a Mimi G pattern. I have sewn this before, and I don't wear it a lot, but I do enjoy wearing it. I don't like it when I buy fabric with something in mind and then I get home and realize it's not going to work. I have a knit fabric, an eTee knit. I really liked the pattern on this one. As you can see, I usually buy a lot of knits when I was there, and I didn't buy a lot this time. So the eTee knit, and I bought 4 yards of it. The reason I bought 4 yards is because I was thinking I would sew this. This is a reprint of one of the DVF wrap dress patterns from the 1970s. I have an original copy here somewhere. It's a size 8. I thought it'd be really fun to compare the two, even though I'm not going to sew a size 8 because there's no way I can fit into a size 8 again. But I thought it would be fun to compare the sizing, overlay the size 8 from the vintage pattern with the tissue pattern here, and look at the instructions to see if everything is still correct. This is one of these impulse buys for me because I don't wear wrap dresses, but I kind of want to sew it. So that's why I bought eTee knit from S.R. Harris, because I didn't invest a lot of money if I end up sewing it and not liking it. But I think this print would be really fabulous in a wrap dress. How fun is this? It's Sesame Street. Is that the right way? Yes, Sesame Street. Just a little, I don't know, continent maybe? I saw this and I just had to buy it. Not for myself, but for my daughter. I'm gonna make her lounge outfit as one of her Christmas gifts. Of course, she's a generation that had Sesame Street as she was growing up. She loves Sesame Street. Cookie Monster was her absolute favorite. I had found a Cookie Monster on eBay a few years ago and sent it to her. I saved all the Sesame Street books that I read to the kids when they were young. And you know, do you have kids like this too, where you have to do the voices? You have to do the voices as the characters, and you can't change the story because they call you out on it. I think this would be a really fun gift for her and a fun little memory. My next piece of fabric, an animal print stretch velvet. It's got a beautiful drape to it. I only bought 1.5 yards. I want to make a t-shirt. I will probably sew the Sewing Workshop eTee. This t-shirt pattern is one that fits me really well. I'm trying to get my hands on the Sandra Betzina Vogue. Can't remember the number right now. I'll pop it up for you. I have some sewing friends that swear by it, but it's very difficult to find on eBay and Etsy. In the meantime, the Sewing Workshop eTee fits me really well. I did do a small full bust adjustment without a dart, and I'm going to sew a t-shirt, but I think I'm going to do something with the sleeves because I think a plain t-shirt out of this would be kind of boring. Although, how boring would a stretch velvet animal print t-shirt really be, right? I still think I'm going to do something with the sleeves. I'm going to make it long sleeve. Maybe I'll do a little bell shape. I'm not sure yet. But this will be a quick little sew. I've sewn this t-shirt so many times. It's super fast. The part that's going to take me the most time is altering the sleeve pattern. And now it's time for audience participation. I need your opinions and suggestions on what patterns to use for the following 3 fabrics. I bought the fabrics without exact patterns in mind. I have an idea of what I want to do, but I am open to suggestions. I know I said that I had plans for every single piece of fabric that I purchased. That wasn't quite true. I don't have plans for this one. This was an impulse buy. Look at the texture on it though. I love unique textured fabrics. It's kind of sticking on itself there. Oh my gosh, it's the tail end of the bolt. It's all sticky. Okay, can you see that? It's ribbons randomly stitched to a base fabric. I'm pretty sure, well, I don't know. I'm thinking it's polyester. This is one of them that it was on the bolt and I went past it and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. And I kind of touched it because that's what we do. And I'm like, oh, I don't need it. So I went past, ignored it. At the very last minute, I went by the fabric 3 times and told myself I didn't need it 3 times. As I'm in line to cut, I'm like, nope, I want it. So I went back to get it. I bought what was left on the bolt, which wasn't very much. As you can see, it was, I think, just under 1.5 yards. It probably would be really great to coordinate with something, but I don't know what. It's kind of a steel gray color. I don't know if you could tell that on your monitors. I know you all have such great creative ideas and patterns. When you look at this, what do you think of? This fabric here is actually quite heavyweight. You can't feel it. It's got a nice, soft, almost fuzzy feel to it. Slight stretch. I'd say it's probably maybe a 35% stretch, maybe a little bit more. Little plaid, as you can see. Beautiful pink with white and silver plaid. I have 2 yards of this. I bought it because my friend Lori was buying 2 yards of this. She was going to make a top, a pullover top with gray trim. And I saw the fabric, I'm like, oh, I kind of want that too. That's really pretty. So I bought 2 yards and we're going to both sew something, but now neither one of us can decide what we actually want to do with it. Help me decide, because as soon as I sew mine, Lori says she'll sew hers and then I can share it with you what she makes. She's been on my channel before, but it's been a couple years. A couple things that I was originally thinking when I bought the fabric was this top 9330. I've sewn it before. I like it. I don't love it. The other one I'm thinking of is an old Sandra Betzina Vogue 7771. This top, love this top. I've only sewn it once, but it is still in my closet. It's one of those sweaters that I've never gotten rid of because I wear it every single season. So I was thinking maybe that. Or I was thinking, should I make a little cropped jacket? Although I said in a previous video I was never going to wear cropped jackets before. I just don't know. I want to sew it up so that I can wear it this season. It's not cold yet, but it will get cold soon. And I want to have this ready to go. Comments, suggestions. I am open. Leave them for me below. Even though this most recent trip to Minnesota, when we were dealing with a family matter, I told myself that I didn't need any more fabric. I don't want any more fabric. I don't need to go to S.R. Harris. I don't feel creative. I just don't feel like sewing. And you can see that being in the store changed my mind. I'm actually feeling quite creative at the moment, and I can't wait to dig in and start sewing some of these up and sharing them with you. For me, it was a great way to get my sojo revved up again. What do you do when you have lost that creative urge to sew? Don't forget to like the video. You know how much I appreciate that. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And until I see you in the next video, I do hope you have a blessed day. Happy sewing. Our shirting fabric with a little hint of glitter, not glitter. I don't know, you can tell I'm very indecisive, right? Indecisive. Yeah. Leave them in the comments below me.